I think so. Since we had already randomized with Amon Ishtar on when he was on the stream the other time, we had already figured out that during that period he had um, continued the ways of the old man. Okay, great. We'll cycle back to that in a second. So for Amon Ishtar, we had randomized before that he did succeed at some point in getting these rituals and tomes of the rituals of the cult. So we're going to say that instead we'll say um, I'll take this away from the aftermath. We'll just move it back up into the flow now. So we're going to say during this time, many of the cult rituals and tomes were stolen from their collections. So during the kind of distraction about Barapatane's death and the changing of the guard, so to speak, some of the stuff was finally successfully stolen. Just because that kind of has to be there. We had already confirmed it did happen at some point. And Aeon Isitar is going to be getting old soon too, according to this timeline. Let me just correct this stuff for a second. Awesome. Okay, so Thendro, the new leader of the cult of Melium, continued in his predecessors. Oh, I'm gonna mess that up, aren't I? I did it. That's correct spelling. All right. Continued in his predecessor's footsteps, focusing on enlightenment for the cult, for his followers in Ith. All right. Let's figure out then what is the biggest issue facing Thendro in his early period of leadership. So what will happen to the cult after Barapatane's passing? We could have it be a second candidate for leadership vies for control. We could say that the secular portion of Ith is at odds with the cult. So there's some sort of government already in the city, and it doesn't like the cult. That could be an option. It could be a return of outside pressure from the other branches of the religion. And it could be a departure of faith. Fewer followers. So because the old leader passed away, maybe some followers are like, well, I guess that's done. Alright, so now we're going to roll one of these options up. Here we go. 1. A second candidate for leadership vies for control. Alright. Do we have any other viewers who would like to participate? We could have another character. It's getting a little late for me, but I'd like to at least wrap it up kind of on this way. On this note. Alright, well, we'll move on here anyway with this. Instead of figuring out who the other cult leader is, we can just ask Corbo what is he going to do about it. Oh, that's fine, Babacus. I was just, I mean, we got a few viewers who aren't chatting, and I just figured maybe if anyone new wanted to take on a role, they could. That would be a good time to get them involved. So Corbo, um, there's someone else within the cult who thinks that they should be in charge, and they're starting to get they're trying to persuade followers to follow them instead of you. So what do you think Thendro will do about this? Is he going to, have them killed, send some assassins after them? There's been a policy already. Patain for many years just killed off people randomly from within the cult as part of his belief that he was a god and in power and control of that. So it wouldn't be unprecedented for Thendro to just kind of say, "Oh, there's someone at odds with me. Well, they must be one of the ones who needs to be culled," you know. Um, or Thendro could try to prove he's a better leader through some sort of ritual, a show of power. Lots of different options. Anything else you can come up with? Feel free to strategize. Is Thendro a magician? That's a good question. We'll figure that out. Figure that out next. I think it's going to be even more likely. Remember when we randomized for Barra Patain, we said it would be somewhat likely because he is in the sphere of things magical, but then we determined that he wasn't. But we also know he surrounded himself with powerful magicians, so it could definitely be that Thendro is a magician. So we'll come back and let Corbo know. We'll figure that out. Soon after his acceptance of this role, Thendro found himself at odds with another member of the cult vying for leadership and trying to convince his comrades to turn on their new leader. Is Thendro a magician? I'm just looking for the odds that we gave Patain. We gave him 1 and 3, so I think we'll give Thendro 50-50. He would do what Patain did. Okay, yeah. Just get rid of them conveniently, the opposition. Alright, so here we go. Even or odd? 5. Thendro is a magician. So Corbo, just so you know, your character here is a magician and able to do some things like he can teleport from one place to another. He can heal people or himself. He can, well, gradually. It's not instant. He can, use some spells that would help in a fight, like throwing someone off balance or slowing them down or confusing them, playing with their senses. So there's a few different options that Thendro may have if it comes down to it. We'll add that onto Thendro's page as well. I guess this technically should be part of a history section. It's an event that happened to him, not part of his identity. So for his bio, we'll say Thendro is capable of magic and has been trained by the cult in its use. Makes it look like an accident? Awesome, let's do it. But we will need to see, does it succeed or not? Does Thendro's attempt to kill off his opposition through an accident succeed? Yes. Partially, leaving his target incapacitated or disadvantaged. So it could give him, you know, some perhaps loyalty because he's been targeted, presumably. No, does not succeed. And then perhaps an even worse option. No, and it's determined Thendro was behind it. Alright. So, let's see. Fairly likely, because we know the cult leaders have these powers, and Thendro's a magician, so he has some skill at making things happen. So we've got some odds there. We'll say it could partially succeed. We'll make that one even more likely. Actually, kills himself would be the worst option. I don't know how that would happen. I'm imagining that he's sending his people to do it rather than doing it himself, because there is a whole group. I don't think I'll add that one on, just because I think that it would be so unlikely that Thendro would do it himself and in a way that could possibly hurt himself. Does not succeed. I think... sure, let's make that... We're going to add on a couple more options here. 9 and 10. So we got a little messy, but that's okay. Traitors. Sure, there's only one way to deal with them. Alright, here we go. Oh, and that's fully behind my thing again, just like I was saying to you guys. Really need to make sure I pay more attention to that. Last time, I went back and was looking at my VOD from last time, and one of our randomizers that I was working on was just fully behind my face. So, sorry about that, guys. You can always tell me, hey, remember to move the thing. Alright, here we go. 8. It does not succeed. Uh-oh. But they don't know that it was you. It seemed like an accident. He set a trap to remove the new leader, to remove his competition, but it failed. Oh, and we should also, let me save that. We're going to put Thendro into our categories for year 700 to 800. So, Corbo, now if you'd like, at some point you want to look at it or whatever, you can always go down to the wiki link in my About panels. And if you want to view the page yourself at any time, you can. It's online here. And you would just be able to search my wiki for Thendro, or you can find it by going to World Characters and then the time period that we're in, 700 to 800, in case you ever want to look it up. And we're also going to link Thendro to this. Copy that and drop it here. Okay, so now what? What happens next after the failed attempt? The competitor tries to kill Thendro. Could be the cult interprets the potential accident as an omen that the competitor does not have Melium's favor. After all, cult people can be fairly superstitious, so could be a continued stalemate with a growing rift between parties. Alright, Corbo, here we go. Another roll. 6. Alright, so for the next period, there's going to be a continued stalemate. After this, the divide continued to grow between Corbo and his adversary. Ooh, not Corbo. Fendro. Watch. Eventually, I'll just be typing on here all your guys' usernames instead of characters. Let's check that, Bobicus. Is Fendro's enemy a magician? I'll give it slightly less than equal odds because... Actually, that's not slightly. That's thirds. Alright, we'll do that. So we'll give it 2/5 chance that he is a magician and 3/5 that he's not, because Pitane was not. So it's not like they're going to expect only magicians can be at high ranking positions. So yeah, so let's roll that one. He is not a magician. He just got really fortunate when he didn't die. All right. Well, I think I'm gonna have to wrap up now, guys. It's we're getting closer towards 2 a.m. now. So Corbo, feel free to tune in next time if you want. You've hit follow, so you should be able to get notified when I go live. Totally up to you, though. We can always focus on a different area of the world next time, or move on to what's going on outside of the cult in these lands. So if you're here, we can work on Thundro. If you're not, no worries. Catch you when we catch you. And if we need to figure out something for Thundro in the future, and you're not around, we can always just have a second person joining in on that role with you. So we will catch you when we catch you. But yeah, it's been a good time, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks for all the role playing as we figure out what happens in Gethra. This whole 700 year to 800 year since Orish period is going to be really getting there with lots of detail and stories. So good stuff, guys. And yeah, thanks for tuning in if you're new. Always be sure to stop by the Knaves Guild. All right. Night, guys.